Joining us now is Fox News senior judicial analyst Judge Andrew Napolitano. What do you expect from his testimony? Because I'll point this out. It's not really about Cambridge Analytica. That's getting the attention because somehow the Trump campaign might have used some of this data.
Right.
But this goes back to 2011, and this was the same type of data that Facebook allowed the 2012 Obama re-election campaign to use. It's potentially hundreds of millions of people had their data exposed to somebody out there, some app developer.
It's well beyond whether this is a Republican or a Democrat thing. Right now, it's an invasion of privacy thing. So a couple of issues here. Today, when Mark Zuckerberg meets, he'll be meeting with the staffs of the two Senate committees. He won't be meeting with the senators. And much of what he says will be under oath, sort of a private deposition, if you will. That's to sort of lock him in to a version of events so that the senators will know tomorrow when he testifies publicly, I imagine we'll all be watching it, exactly what he's going to say ahead of time. But he has some competing factors going on here. Remember, Facebook has a consent decree with the Federal Trade Commission, which allows the Federal Trade Commission, without a hearing, to charge Facebook $40,000 per privacy violation. Now, you can do the math. What's 40,000 times 87 million? It's probably a couple of billion, Brian, even for somebody like Zuckerberg, and even for a cash flush company like Facebook. It's a tremendous amount of money. So that's one thing he has to be concerned about. The other thing he has to be concerned about, of course, is his public image. I mean, this is the most popular, most frequently used entity on the planet. Does he want people to leave in droves, or does he want them to stay in droves? If he wants them to stay in droves, he must credibly explain how this happened and how they can prevent it from happening in the future.
Can we just roll the video as we talk of him? This was in 2010 when he was being questioned by Kara Swisher and Walt Mossberg, and he was sweating so profusely. It's hard to see it in this video that he had sweat dripping off his chin. He was being asked about privacy, and I misspoke. So this was a 2010 interview. Facebook opened basically access to friends and friends of friends user data to all these app developers in 2007, and they ended it in 2015.
Right.
They ended it because it was, quite frankly, sleazy. And people started figuring out what was going on, and then they cut off access, or limited access.
It's inconceivable that the Facebook engineers and executives did not know that by giving 287,000, well, these people volunteered, by the 287,000 volunteers to Cambridge Analytica, allowed Cambridge Analytica to access the private data on their friends and the friends of their friends. It's simply inconceivable. And I think that Mark Zuckerberg is going to admit to that. He has to admit to it.
They knew in 2015 about the abuse of this personal information by this psychologist who put this personality test together, this psychological quiz together.
Right.
But I'm saying that what's going to be a shocker for everybody is if they come out and say it's hundreds of thousands of people who their data is stored God knows where around the world because all of these app developers basically collected it, raked it in, and are sitting on it.
Here's a good question. If the FTC assesses them $40,000 per breach and it comes to a couple of billion, where does that money go? Does that money go to the coffers of the FTC? Does that money go to the General Treasury of the United States? Or does it go to the human beings whose privacy was violated? And if it doesn't go to them, Zuckerberg's not going to want to hear this, but I'm sure they're prepared for it. You have an enormous potential class action out there. A group of lawyers suing in behalf of every Facebook user whose privacy was exposed because of the engineer's failure to protect it. Because from and after the consent decree with the FTC, they have an absolute obligation to protect that privacy, which we know they didn't.
He gets Mark Zuckerberg is not used to being pressed. He's not used to being grilled about his business.
That's what happens when you're worth all that money.
And he gets prickly. and you have Sheryl Sandberg out there going, we believe in basically connecting people. We do good in this world. When basically there are a third of the American users on Facebook had their data compromised just in the Cambridge Analytica situation.
You're going to see a fairly aggressive questioning tomorrow, not by professional cross-examiners, but by politicians who want to resonate, that they speak for the people at home whose privacy rights were violated.
They're going to quote this, that that memo that Facebook Vice President Andrew Bosworth put together, which we talked about on this very program a couple of weeks ago. Maybe somebody dies in a terrorist attack coordinated by our tools, but we still connect people, and this de facto good, anything that allows us to connect more people. You got to be kidding me.
Is this a political story? Are your polls resonating?
I think it is definitely a political story. One of the questions I think people have, though, is this going to impact other businesses that collect data? Is this going to be a set precedent for other businesses that we should be looking at?
There are war rooms set up everywhere.
Even without the consent decree from the Federal Trade Commission, there are laws that protect privacy that require them either to inform you that you are exposed and then you opt out, or you do something to protect yourself, or not to expose you.
But didn't Facebook have privacy laws that you opted into or opted out of when you signed up?
Do you know anybody that read that stuff? You're exactly right, Mike.
Come on,
you're exactly right.
That's what I was going to say, because you're hanging Facebook out as if the company may cease to exist on this, that they could be fined into oblivion. But
no,
the
I don't
fact
think
that people don't
do
not read
I heard it.
the privacy disclosure or privacy statement.
They made it very.
They've since changed it.
They made it very tricky. And
I haven't read it, but I can't imagine that it said, you know, if you participate in a study on an app, all of your friends' information will be exposed.